Hello everybody, I am host Guterman for Western Galilee Academic College. I will be talking about perception of performance goal and academic achievements in majority and minority groups of students in Israel. Well, let's start with the introduction. The recent one achievement goal theory over the past few decades has suggested that different students tend to adopt different orientation for the learning activity in classes, and that this orientation are associated differently to the quality of learning. It means that we have different goals. Okay, when we come to class, when we come to learn, we have different reason to do that. Okay, so achievement goal theory includes the detail of several motivational orientation. Okay, there's different theories and different approaches, but I think the main one look at personal mastery goal, which are also known as test goal, and personal performance goal, which are also known as ego goals or ability goals. Okay, so we have different name for same separation to two kinds of goals. Let's start by saying that students are oriented toward and perceive learning in light of mastery goals. Okay, let's focus on mastery goal. View school as a place in which they acquire knowledge and develop personal skill. These students engage in learning tasks based on an orientation toward learning, understanding, and developing abilities. Okay, I want to learn, I want to develop myself. This is my main goal. Okay, of course there are other goals, but this is the main one. In contrast, students who perceive the significance of learning in light of personal performance goal see school as a place of interpersonal competition regarding competence based on social comparison. Okay, my main goal is to be better than others. Okay, be better than the other student, to be wiser, to have more abilities, to have better grades. Okay, so what is my main goal? Is it just to acquire abilities, or is it to show that I'm better than others? Better than others, well, we should say that in recent years, researchers have differentiate between two types of performance goal. Performance approach goal, okay, I want to be better than others, and performance avoidance goal, I don't want to be worse than others. Okay, so this is two kinds of these goals, of performance goals. Performance approach, I want to be better than that. Performance avoidance, I want to avoid being less than others. Okay, so in this specific research, we examined 207 students enrolled in studies at the academic college in northern Israel that serves both Arabic-speaking and Hebrew-speaking students. In this study, 104 of the participants were Arabic speakers and 104 were Hebrew speakers. In Israel, the Hebrew speakers are the majority and the Arabic speakers are the minority. It's worth mentioning that during school, most schools in Israel are separated. There are Arabic-speaking schools and Hebrew-speaking schools, usually located, it depends on where the child grows. Because Arab-speaking and Jewish-speaking population lives in different places, then usually they learn in school in where they live. This is why the education system is separated until they reach age of college, and then they learn together. The two samples of students who were matched in terms of three variables: sex, age, and family status, mean that all three variables were the same. And this is very important because when you check different populations, well, you can't be sure that they are the same in every variable, and you can't be sure that our variable, our main variable, which is the language they speak and the performance goal, is the main thing that will influence the variable that we look at. So we looked at studies that were conducted before study, and we saw that these three variables are very meaningful. This is why it was important for us regarding these three variables, the samples will be matched, meaning that there's no difference in the age, in family status, and in gender. All of the students were in middle of the second semester of the first year at the college. With regard to sex, 55 were women and 53 were men. The age of the student ranged from 17 to 65, with means of 24.49 years and standard deviation of 6.01. Regarding marital status, 152 of the students were single, whereas 56 were married. Well, before I will go to the results, we'll say that we had many results, but since I have 8 to 10 minutes, this is the guidelines that we have received, since this is the instruction, I chose to focus on specific results, which you can see here. And this is the correlation. The upper part here is the correlation between the Arab-speaking students. And here you can see the Hebrew-speaking students. And this is a correlation between a performance goal, okay, mastery goal, performance goal, approach, performance goal, avoidance, and you can see the correlation, Pearson correlation, between these variables and a final grade, okay, also between themselves, okay, between each other, but what I want you to focus on is here, okay, final grade. And you can see interesting thing, you can see that among Arab-speaking students, there was a correlation, a positive correlation between performance avoidance goal and the final grade, whereas among Hebrew-speaking students, the majority, there was a correlation, Pearson correlation between approach goal, performance approach goal, and final grade. Okay, now when we had to explain this result, our thought was that it might be linked to cultural differences. Usually, other studies that were conducted investigating this population showed that Arab-speaking population in Israel tends to be more collective. Okay, and we examined other studies that addressed majority and minority groups, and indeed, in many cases, minority groups, even in other countries, tend to be more collective. This is reasonable, and we think, and here, of course, disagree. Of course, this is only one thought that we had. We had other issues, other explanations that we suggested, but one of them thought that maybe in collective societies, not standing out, of course, for the worst is very important. Well, I think I'm out of time. This is the guidelines, 8 to 10 minutes, and I'm very close to 10 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned from this presentation. And may you have a beautiful day and a beautiful convention. So goodbye, everybody.